So many of our kids in pain are argumentative, and we don't want to fight, and we don't want to argue, and we want to go ahead as much as possible and not have discussions, especially about hot topics. For example, we had a parent that was here, and we're trying to build NKN, Nafshik Shur B'Nafshik, and he told me I had a very bad Shabbos with my kid. And we had a big fight. I said, what was the fight about? He said, politics. I said, what? Yeah, at the Shabbos table, my kid was saying about, I don't know if they were pro-Trump or anti-Trump. Let's say they were pro-Trump and I was anti-Trump, and we got into a heated debate, and we went ahead and it was a heated debate, and we fought, and I put her down, and she put me down, and she blew up, and our relationship went down because we fought about politics. I said, what are you, crazy? You're real bona fide meshugana, and I don't talk like that. I'm like, you're the IV to your child, and you cut the IV on your child for the medicine over politics? I said, was CNN there? Was anybody there? Were you just, you had to fight with her for the world to see? Are you running for Congress? I mean, even so, even if you're running for president, you kill your kid? So you're in your dining room. Why do you have to argue? Why do you have to fight about politics? It makes a difference what you said. Over nothing, you ruined the only way to bring your child to be normal. The kid was suicidal. The kid had major problems. She retreated back into depression. You caused your kid to be depressed, and the only way to be Makarev in Yiddishkeit and everything that you want is connection, and you ruin the connection because of politics. Did President Trump go ahead and thank you, or whatever the other? What are you, crazy? So sometimes they argue about religion. Many times they say, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in, a lot of times, never, they say terrible things. They say smelly rabbis. The trust was broken. All rabbis are molesters. They say there was no Torah, there was no, it's all Baba Maisa. They could say a lot of painful things. No question about it. The first thing is, we don't let anything disconnect us. We don't let anything disconnect us. So the first thing is to say, listen, we have different views on politics, or we have different views on religion, but there's so many other things in the world to talk about. You know, Goyim never talk about religion. So let's not let our differences divide us. Let's let our love, I'll call Pshoim Tchas Ahava, right? On all sins, love conquers all. Let's let our love be the most supremely important thing, and let's not talk about anything that divides us. You believe that the Charedim should serve in the army, and I believe that they shouldn't, and you believe that they're this, you're anti, and I'm pro. We don't have to discuss this issue. Most of the people in the world are not discussing this issue. Let's not discuss things that divide us. Let's not let this go. We're allowed to have different beliefs. I respect you for your belief. You respect me for my belief, or you don't. But let's talk about everything else. It's like I met an atheist. I told him, you spend more time thinking about God that you say doesn't exist than I do. And I'm from. All day you're busy. There's no God. There's no God. I said, there's no God. Leave it alone already. The whole day he's busy. There's no God. There's no God. He's writing articles. There's no God. I said, if from people would think about God as much as you do, you'd be mamish tzaddikim. That's the first step. That's without skill. We're not going to let our differences divide us. And that's the way we should be with the Chilonim in Israel. They should say, you have to this, you have that. You say, listen, we have different views. We have different perspectives. But I'm not letting that divide us. We're brothers. We're brothers. And we could disagree. But let's not let it divide us. If you don't know how to disagree properly in a way that's going to build NKN, then we say that. But here's the skill that I told you I would reveal to you. You can disagree with somebody with the matara, with the goal and the focus to make you closer. How? I'll teach it to you. Let's say your child says they're against Torah. They say Torah never existed. Well, let's pick any topic, whatever it is. They say something. Now, here's the rules. First of all, you never, ever put them down. You never say you're stupid, you're dumb, how could you say that? You don't put them down. You respect them, full respect. And you say, I hear what you're saying, but let me tell you my perspective. And you say your thing. And your kid might put you down, but you don't take it personal. So these are two things. You have to be a hecher a mensch. You have to be have a lot of muscle, emotional muscle. Number one is, I'm never going to put you down. I'm not going to insult you. I'm not going to say, how could you think that? Like, you see like liberals fighting with the conservative, with the other people, right? And we think the liberals are mashuga. You're going to go teach 5-year-olds about changing your gender? You're out of your mind. There's no way to be respectful, but it doesn't help because they're looking at it like that. And they say, you're dinosaurs, and you're crazy old people. There's no dialogue. Sometimes it's so hard to have dialogue. But you ever see these debates? You ever watch the debates? I don't think there's any purpose to ever debate anybody, because I've never seen a debate that this person convinced this person of anything, and this person convinced this person of anything. They both leave the debate more entrenched in their own thought. So what kind of a debate is that? So if you're debating to run for president, you're going to continue your way. You're going to continue your way. You're going to say, you're stupid, and you're going to ruin the world. And you say, you're stupid, you're on the world. But if you're doing it to be makarev, you're doing it to get close to somebody, what's the sense of the debate? We debate with the bigger matara that I'm going to bring you closer. So I would say to the kid, tell me, what's your thought process? I'm so interested to hear it. Well, let's say talk about the army. The Haredim, they suck blood out of the thing, and they're supposed to go ahead, and everyone's supposed to pay for them, and they're dying. And you say, I really hear your point. I hear, because it's true, I do hear that point. I hear the Chiloni point. Chiloni taxi driver told me, why is my son prepared to die, and he could die, and my neighbor's son is not dying because he's sitting and learning? Because they don't appreciate our point of view. I hear what he's saying, right? Why is our blood free and your blood is not? And the truth is, if the Chilonim would not be in the army, or if, let's say, if Arachim would be fully successful and all the Chilonim would become Charedim, then we do need an army. So we would be stuck. But because they want to fight and we want to learn, and we believe that learning is protecting them. And some of them also understand that the Schus HaTorah, and there is a way to describe that how come Israel is surrounded by 70 wolves, and there's a schus because we're Jews, and what keeps us Jews is Torah. But it takes a lot to explain our side. Their side is something everybody would agree with. Explain to me your side. I hear you completely. I hear it completely. You want to hear my side? If he says no, then you say no problem. End of the debate. There was no harm done. And most of the time they'll say, no, I'm not interested in your side. Your side is stupid. Okay. Pass the fish. Let's move on. There's no argument. You're not trying to win him over. You're trying to win him. You're not trying to win the debate. So you listen to him. I hear you. Would you like me to say the other side? Now let's say he says yes. So you're going to say, well, the idea is, Republicans versus Democrats, right? Gun control, people fighting over gun control. Well, I feel that even that really, if we take away guns, then there'll be less chance of bad people getting their hands on guns. And he's going to say, you're crazy. All the bad people get guns anyway. It's only the good people that are not going to. And you're not going to take it. You're not going to take his attack personally. And you say, I hear you. It makes a lot of sense. I want to think about it. Now, the next day, you find an article on whatever the disagreement was. You find an article that agrees with him. And you say, look, I found an article, mamash, about this, and agree with you. You're so smart. Okay, so do you agree with me? I'm thinking about it. The day after or 2 days later, you find an article that agrees with you. And you say, look, do you want to see this article? This explains a little bit why I'm thinking what I'm thinking. But I'm not sure. I want to hear about this. And you go back and forth and back and forth. And each time, and this is very key, throughout the debate process, you never, like I said, you never put down the other side. You never say, you're stupid, you're gullible, you're naive. What are you thinking? How could you think like that? Blah, 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 blah. You never take what he says personally. And you look for every time to validate him and his brain said, wow, you're so smart, and you try to put in jokes. I was always able to find a joking way to lighten things up. And you look to boost your relationship. Wow, you're so smart. I still disagree with you, but one thing's for sure, you are smart. You read up on this. You know what you're talking about. I'm very proud of you. You're very smart. You should run for president. You should run for the world would be a better place with people like you. I appreciate your passion. You could say not altogether, I see how passionate you are. That's good. It's good to be passionate. Yeah, I want to think about it. I'll get back to you. And then you show him how he was right. And then you go ahead and you say how he's right and how I'm right. And each time you look for a way to compliment and you look for a way to improve the NKM and never get sucked into the dialogue. Our tafkid is to improve nafshik shur benafshik. That's our tafkid. Our tafkid is nothing else. We're not here to accomplish a win. We're not here to convince him. We're here to build NKN, because the more that you have a connection, the greater the automatic influence is there, and it changes a person's mindset. Dialogue has to be open. So again, the first way when you don't have skill is, listen, we disagree on certain things. We agree on a lot of other things. We agree that we love shawarma. Let's have shawarma. We agree that we love steak. Let's go out to eat. We don't have to talk about the few things that divide us. But if you can enter the dialogue with these rules and winning the NKN, and when you're done, when you say, think about it, you say, can I have a hug? And you have a hug, you can make the person closer to you by arguing. And we all know that whoever learns Gemara, when you're learning with a chavrusa, and over there, sometimes you could say negative things, but you're closer to each other. If you hate the person or you think he's stupid, then you got it. That's not Torah. You have to find a different chavrusa. The idea is to focus. I'm going to win the person, not the argument. And I don't have to say you're right. I could say I respectfully disagree, because we know that there's a lot of people that disagree on this. There's a lot of Republicans. There's a lot of liberals. There's a lot of conservatives. We're allowed to disagree, and we're allowed to still be related. And I still respect your opinion. Now, you can't say I respect your opinion when he says there's no God. You don't say I respect your opinion. You say, listen, I hear you. Like I told the atheist. He said, there's no God. And he came to debate me. I said, let's understand. I will never prove to you that there's a God, because he's invisible. You will never prove to me that there's not a God, because I'm a Maimon. So why don't we just go eat supper? Why should we waste time? Why should we waste time? You say there's no God. I respect your opinion. I understand that he's invisible, and I understand that a lot of bad things happened. And I hear, and by the way, I want to tell you, we have at least over 50 TP kips, kids in pain, who expressed that they were atheists, Rahman al-Islam, there's no God, who are today not atheists. Almost all of them, or maybe even all of them by now, not atheists. What changed? Nothing. Here's the big chiddush. They never got answers for any of their questions. People think, oh, I have to bring you to Arachim, and I have to bring you to this guy and that guy. They're in pain. Take away their pain. Do what the Baal Shem Tov said. Love them more, and because of that, they will leave their kfira. Now, I realized recently, we're talking about an intellectual problem. Intellectual, they're kafir. They're atheists. They don't believe in God. And the Baal Shem Tov's medicine is emotional. Love is emotional. How do you win an intellectual argument with emotions? It's a different realm. Parents is, it's not intellectual. It's all emotions. Person is hurt. They need love. They need medicine. The medicine is ahava. That's what the Baal Shem Tov said. He didn't say debate them. He didn't say go prove to them. It's very good to go to someone who did not grow up from and is not anti, and Arachim can go and all these Project Inspire and all these things, they can go and they can have a smart rabbi talk to 1,000 professors that are atheists and win. And this 16-year-old from Williamsburg, you can't win because they're not atheists. They don't know anything about Judaism. They just know pain. They don't know anything about it's easy to say. Can't be a God. And they have questions. Where was God in the Holocaust? How do you kill 1 million children, 1 million babies? How come Hashem told us to kill the children of Amalek? And these are good questions, and we also have them, but we're from, because we believe that we don't have to understand. Like the Kotzker Rebbe said, I would never serve a God that I could understand. So we're okay to not understand. They're not okay because they're in pain. Do the love, like the Satmar Rebbe said, and I'll tell you what it means. It means whatever money you give all your other children, give this kid double the money. He should know that you love him. That's Lehav Oisim B'Yosim. And the Chazon Ish said the same thing. Yinasu l'moshcham, bring them in, pull them in, ba'avoisais, ahava. Love, v'loy l'tchoisem chalila, and don't push them away. And Rabbi Gershon Edelstein Zatzal, and Chaim Kanievsky Zatzal, and all Hasidish, Litvish, everybody said the medicine for kvira, the medicine for not being frum, the medicine is love, acceptance. Changes the mindset. And I saw it b'chush. I saw it mamish b'chush. How they came in, told him, angry and fire. A kid had a Rosh Hashanah Maxer, he said, I'm going to urinate on it. Today, he's married. He's frum. His children are, I saw him, he made, when I saw him a couple of years ago, he already made his second bris. He has like 4 kids in regular yeshiva schools. What happened? Love, acceptance. Nothing up here. No fighting. Nothing up here. It's all over here. So this is what we do. While we're debating, we're just looking for love. So he says something, even though we don't agree with him, you're so smart. That's genius. Let me think about it. You know what? But I heard, what about this? What about this? I can understand your questions on God. I can't answer. Like I had a kid, one of the first kids at Home Sweet Home, sitting in my dining room. I just opened up. I was a 30-year-old. He was cursing Hashem. Hashem Amalkus. Mamish like Fuckgod. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what in the world am I supposed to? I have no training. And when he finished, Hashem gave me Siyata D'Shmaya. I told him, I said, I think since Avraham Avinu, there was no bigger Maimon than you. Nobody ever believed in God as much as you since Avraham Avinu. So he looks at me, what? I said, you went through a lot of pain. And you really did. And you really believe in God. And you really believe in Hashgacha Pratis. You believe that God determined and decided and he pulled the trigger to ruin your life. And that's why you're in pain. That's why you're cursing. Makes a lot of sense. He looked at me, he said, I never looked at it that way. Yeah. And within a year, he was Shemei Torah mitzvahs. He didn't have any answers on the Holocaust. He didn't have any answers on his own pain, why he was molested at 8 years old, why he was thrown out of his house after he was being beaten, and he lived on a train, and he lived on a truck. You don't need answers. There are no answers. You give sympathy and empathy, and you boost, and you say, my brother, I'm with you. We'll end with this. Amazing Zohar HaKadosh, I say it all the time. He took off time from learning, little Torah, right? But you're allowed to do it. Took up time from learning to visit the sick. He sees a sick person. The person, it says, had stomach pain, which was so bad that he was cursing Hashem. Zohar HaKadosh, Shimon Bar Yochai, is hearing somebody curse God. So he goes over to him and he says to him, why are you cursing God? Why don't you pray to him to heal you? In other words, if you're cursing Hashem, means you believe in it. You believe it in Hashem, and you believe that he's causing you this pain. So you're cursing him. Same story as the whole Sidon boy. I just didn't know the Zohar HaKadosh then. So you believe in Hashem, and that's why you're cursing him, for your pain. But if you believe in him, why don't you pray to him to take away your pain? So the man tells Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, you're right. I pray to Hashem, I daven to Hashem to take away my pain and to give it to you. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai says, you're right. I should have stayed in Beis Medrash. I should have stayed and learned. It was Bittul Torah. Because why did I leave learning? To go ahead and make people who are sick feel better, not to get them upset and to judge them and to tell them what I would do if I were you. To tell people who are in pain how they should act. Oh, how could you say that? Don't say that. Don't talk like that. This is their reality. They feel that Hashem turned their back on them. They said, Shakai Shemeni Matzaleni Mikol Ra, and we can't understand why, but again, they had problems, and they said it 1,000 times, and Hashem did not, in Hashem's wisdom, and It's easy for us to say, but you're not allowed to say like the Baal Shem Tov. You're supposed to be a kaifer on somebody else's problems. When it comes to yourself, you say Gamzu L'Tov. If it comes to somebody else, you should be a kaifer. He prayed to Hashem, please make that the guy should stop molesting me. And Hashem didn't listen. Hashem could have made the guy stop, could have made the guy do tshuva, could have made the parents move of that family, could have made his father stop beating him up, could have made him that he should get the help that he needed. He shouldn't live on a train. He prayed a lot before he gave up. Now he does every Yom Kippur, he does a tainis dibur to make up for the Yom Kippurs that he broke. So I'm gonna judge him. But I think the message, I think it's pashut, but it's a little bit deeper. The man told Reb Shimon bar Yochai, I daven to Hashem to take away my pain and to give it to you. Why? To give it to you. I think his message was, and then we'll see how you preach high and holy, Reb Shimon bar Yochai. Let's see how you do. You're looking down at me, but what if you went through all my pain? Maybe you'd be worse than me. Maybe you'd also be cursing God. That's the way we have to look when we hear somebody cursing Hashem or not keeping Shabbos. We have to say, if we had their pain, we would be worse than them. How do we know that we would be better? Are we asking in the next Gilgal, Hashem, let me come down and go through what this person went through? Chas v'shalom, about that. We don't want their pain. We don't want their nisyanis, so don't judge them. And through all of this understanding, when we have this humbleness and this anava, we can engage in conversation. In each conversation, we're boosting the NKN. We're complimenting. We're making jokes. We're lightening it up. We're showing them, yeah, I hear you. I understand you. Let me think about it. Let me see, go back to you. And then he's going to slug you up. And you can stretch it out for 6 months, a year, and you're stretching out hours and hours of interaction, which we want interaction, instead of the first way, which is just shutting it down and looking for other ways to interact. The real skill is to be able to interact and to say, you know what, let's go through this. And eventually, with your love and your fun, they'll be very open. I used to walk around in Home Sweet Home with my Sefer Nesiv Shalom and never said to them, let's learn. And when they got healthy and they saw I'm non-judgmental, most of them came over to me and said, can we learn? And I used to learn with them privately. So they wanted to hear, but as long as they don't want, there's no reason to talk. I hope I answered your question, and I hope it's very clear.